and welcome in to Recruit Reaction Week 10. We got some big game. There's some big upsets already today. Here we are. It's only about 4 p.m. East Central Time, and two big upsets to start the game. We're going to be talking about SMU taking down Miami, and all their playoff dreams go with it in overtime. And then the second upset of the day is where we're going to start the show. We got Steve Wiltfong, national analyst. He's gathering. I love this show. Steve's in the background right now as we speak, communicating with top recruits from across the country, including from the game that we're about to go to, the second upset of the day. Texas gets a top 10 win over Vanderbilt, 34-31. Texas looks like they're back. They're getting there, guys. They're getting there. It's a long way to come, but this had to be the best Manning performance we've seen, well, this season at least. And Texas gets the win 34-31. Big-time recruits on campus. Couple 5-stars in Diabell, Derek Cooper. Also a surprise flip target. Let's bring in Steve Wiltfong. We're going to talk about it. I know Steve's been on the phone with some of these recruits. Steve, you just want to jump in and tell us what you've been hearing?
Talking about the Buckeyes and that surprise flip target.
Oh, wait. We're going to start with Texas.
Oh, sorry. We're talking with the Longhorns. I thought in the production meeting we were starting with the Buckeyes.
Sorry.
So I'm thrown off. Let me cue up the Longhorns here in my story that is now live
on
Rivals. Get over to rivals.com and read about who was on campus at Texas today. 2 flip targets. Our man, Sam Spiegelman, colleague, reports Baylor top 100 defensive line target. Jamarian Carlton was at the game today. LSU Rivals 300 offensive tackle commit Bryson Martinez was also there. I spoke with Carlton after the game. The vibe was good, and the Longhorns are a good team, and it's always fun to watch the defense get after it, Carlton said. Now, there were times where it looked like he was trending Texas. I've had my prediction on the Longhorns at various points in the recruitment of Jamarian Carlton. In fact, I had Texas early and rode it out through some ebbs and flows, thinking it would come back to Texas. Baylor got it done at the end of the summer, but Texas looks to be alive in this one. Things that he's always liked about Texas. They have a great reputation of producing dogs, his words, not mine. I'm glad that I have the opportunity to be with the Longhorns. He has said before, Bryson Martinez, Louisiana kid that popped for the Tigers. We'll see what develops in that one, who LSU hires, but we have seen Texas go into that state and have success on the recruiting trail. So them getting Bryson Martinez on campus certainly raises my antenna. How about linebacker Karan Maycock, committed to Florida State? He's out of Miami Central, one of the more coveted players in the Sunshine State on defense this fall. He told me so far, I'm loving it, feels great. Great players and coaches. And coming into the trip, he was said, whatever happens, happens. Just got to make the best decision for me. So the door was wide open for Florida to run through, or for Texas to run through it. Looks like they're doing that so far. He has talked about the Longhorns' ability to produce at every position to the league, has said the coaching is great. Texas has a chance to make it back to the college football playoff for a second year in a row. Vanderbilt, one of the hottest teams in the country, coming into this ball game, and the Longhorns jumped all over them. Had some injuries in this ball game that they were able to play through and get a win. And this is a Texas team. If you're pointing to this season, you talk about the resiliency, the culture. And when it wasn't long ago where Steve Sarkisian was just getting to Texas and he had to fix the culture and he had to fix the toughness of this football team. They were powder puff soft around the line of scrimmage. Now they have dudes around the line of scrimmage. These were games where they would have lost early in the Sarkisian era and before. They're battling, they're fighting. They even on the road at Ohio State, they fought all 4 quarters, had a chance to win it in the 4th quarter. They come back and beat Mississippi State last weekend, cowbell down multiple scores, hang on and beat a very good Vanderbilt team playing at a high level with a Heisman candidate under center. They just got to keep stacking wins, get into that college football playoff, and continue to improve, which I think you'll see under this coaching staff in November. And then they had some great players in 2027, Josh, on campus today too.
Yeah, And we're going to talk about those guys in a second. I got a quick follow-up to Jamarian Carlton. Do you think this has anything to do with Dre Quinn and maybe Dre Quinn trending more so to Ohio State, maybe even Tennessee? I mean, we haven't – ever since his decommitment from Clemson, he still hasn't shown up yet in Austin. I'm not saying he couldn't in the next 4 or 5 weeks before signing day, but maybe seeing Jamarian Carlton on campus kind of shows a shift in where Texas is looking.
Well, potentially, but I'm not sure. I mean, this is news that just kind of developed today. So I'm still gathering intel on where Jamarian Carlton fits in. Texas has always loved Dre Quinn. When Dre Quinn decommitted from Clemson, sources with knowledge of that recruitment said that Texas led. When Dre Quinn visited Ohio State earlier this season, the vibe was got to make a move on Texas. Now, that doesn't discount Tennessee, who's getting an official visit later this month. The Vols are certainly in the thick of it. Miami had them on campus last weekend. Yep. And so the Hurricanes trying to charge hard for Dre Quinn. Texas, they just look for championship level players. We saw them make a run to the number one class at the end of last year's cycle. We know that Sarkisian, Brandon Harris, this coaching staff has some things up their sleeve. As the early signing period approaches here, we are just about 1 month away from the early signing period, December 3rd. This is where Texas starts to cook, especially if they're playing well on the field and the college football playoff push continues. They have the eye of some terrific players down the stretch. Where does Jamarian Carlton and Dre Quinn and all these guys fit on the board? I'd take them both, but it's easy for me to say that. We'll know soon on Texas's board and things of that nature moving forward.
Yeah, it's not your money. All right, let's talk about some of these.
Not Sark's money either, baby.
Let's talk about some of these star 2027s on campus. Diabell was there. He's the superstar 2026 quarterback that is committed, but I bring him up because Texas was hosting number 1 wide receiver in the 2027 class, Easton Royal. Did they roll out the burnt orange carpet for him today?
There's no question. I talked to Easton Royal after the game. His words about Texas's position for him early in his process, strong contender. He said he was very impressed, loved the way that this offense came out, said it was the best Arch Manning has looked this season, which means he has been tuned in all year. This is definitely one of the front runners in his recruitment. He loves that here's something that Texas did that was unique today. For Easton Royal, he's our number 1 ranked receiver in the country because he has unique traits, and one of them is he can fly. And the Texas football staff had him meet with the Texas track coach, and he's pursuing doing that in college, he said, and they have been the only college so far to link him up with the track and field program. So that was a nice little niche. Obviously, what Steve Sarkisian has done historically with wide receivers is enticing to him. The program, we know in the modern recruiting era, Texas can go toe-to-toe with any school if it's a prospect that they absolutely covet. And you see the film of Easton Royal. He is one of the best bets in the 2027 class to have an outstanding college career. He is a touchdown waiting to happen, uber explosive, confident, and has all the intangibles you're looking for from the type of kid he is, type of teammate he is, and type of competitor he is. Texas is going to go all in on Easton Royal, and they are a strong contender right now at this point in his process. Certainly LSU is going to get a keen look, but they have a coaching change, so they lose ground on a relationship standpoint. Well, they'll get a jolt when they get a new head coach in there. They'll get some new assistant coaches in there. But right now, there's no more relationship building that's really that relevant until the dust settles. Obviously, Frank Wilson, he's a mainstay at LSU, but who will be coaching me? Who's going to be calling the plays? Who's the head coach? Those are things that are kind of on pause right now for LSU. He really likes Oregon. He really likes USC. He really likes Ohio State. Florida was another school that he liked a lot, but they're on pause, obviously. But Texas is on the gas, all gas for Easton Royal, who had a fantastic visit. He's going to go out west on his next couple trips, see the Ducks, see the Trojans. Yeah. He's actually, his last trip of the year is going to be the Gators, man. Florida, FSU, Thanksgiving weekend. Is Florida up 10-7 right now still?
Florida's up 10-7 as we creep towards halftime.
The Gators getting rid of ultimate nice guy, Billy Napier, before this game, just in case he would have won it.
All right, Texas fans, let's talk about the win over Vanderbilt. Arch Manning looked a lot better in this one, looking more comfortable. And, I know we're 10 games into this thing, but maybe, just maybe, things are starting to click for Texas. We're going to find out for sure next week as they take on Georgia. But today, Texas gets their top 10 win, comes over Vanderbilt. Talk to us. How you guys feeling? Comment section below. All right, Steve, now let's talk Ohio State, because Ohio State used a dominant second half to blow out Penn State. This was once thought to be one of the best games of the season. It turns out to be a blowout, 38-14. Obviously, things are way different than we all thought it would be in Happy Valley, but this was a big game for Julian Sayin. 316 yards, 4 touchdowns. 2 of them to Jeremiah Smith, who caught 6 balls total for 123 yards. Steve, know you've been talking to some of these Ohio State recruits that were on the sidelines for this one. What are you hearing?
Well, so often we always point to Georgia as the most consistent program in college football, the premier team. But why don't we say Ohio State? They're the defending national champs.
Yeah, they are, yeah.
The Buckeyes, our entire lives, Josh, I'm 43 years old. I know you're in that same ballpark. They've had maybe like 2 down seasons, and I can only think of one off the top of my head, the transition between Jim Tressel to Urban Meyer with the Coach Fickle year sandwiched in between. This is a program that's perennially in the conversation to win the national championship, and they're chasing a second straight title this year. And that second half, they looked absolutely dominant, looked poised to win it. And these recruits on campus, they see a special program, a place, a culture, a brotherhood, and playing for a staff that loves their players and makes it an outstanding environment to be in and to be developed and to have that college experience. It's checking a lot of boxes. Rivals number 2 corner, Jay Timmons. He's committed to Florida State. He's out of Pine Richland High in Pennsylvania. He is tracking to finish as a 5-star, and he could finish this recruiting cycle as a Buckeye. Now, his dad was a tremendous Seminole, Josh, probably someone that you rooted hard for in your college days.
I think he was a linebacker when I was a student, I think.
Yeah. Well, he was an NFL All-Pro, and his son is committed to Florida State. But Ohio State's given him a lot to think about. He said the environment is fire. He's still on his visit. So this visit's just on the arrow up. The environment is fire, Jay Timmons said. People don't stop saying OHIO. The people here are super loyal. Their defense is what excites me, and the energy they bring, it's something different. He talked about the second half shutout. Tim Walton, one of the best cornerback coaches in the land, to be developed by Tim Walton and his pedigree is exciting. He wants to play in the biggest games. NFL development is of the utmost importance to him. Ohio State is a program with that track record in every single position room. Guys that hear their names called high in the NFL draft. The opportunity to come to Ohio State and compete against these receivers every day in practice, that is something that's got Jay Timmons fired up about Ohio State. He's excited to finish up this visit, but there is no question that Ohio State is in the thick of it for Jay Timmons, the number 2 corner in the land, trending for a 5-star ultimately by the early signing period. How about electric playmaker and Tennessee commit Legend Bay? He's from the Lone Star State. There are not many in this class who are more explosive when the ball is in their hands than Legend Bay. The Vols beat Texas A&M this summer in what was a back-and-forth tussle on the trail. Ohio State, I didn't know this till today. I asked Legend how Ohio State compares to Tennessee, and he said, I've actually been establishing relationships longer with the Ohio State coaches. They've been communicating with me, keeping in touch with me for 3+ years. Now, Legend Bay plays quarterback on the prep level, goes about 5'9", has over 1,000 yards passing, over 1,000 yards rushing so far. He's got 19 rushing scores, 13 passing scores, with more work to be done as he heads towards the playoffs. But he can absolutely run, and he would complement these guys like Chris Henry that they have in the class very well. And he says, I love Ohio State. This place is a winning culture. You feel it in this environment. The fans are amazing. The coaches are second to none. They're showing me a lot of love here. I'm excited to be here. And talking to a source before I talk to Legend, They thought that this visit to Ohio State, the Buckeyes have a great chance of flipping him from the ball. So we'll see how it continues to go. Ohio State wants to flip the number 3 interior offensive lineman in the country, Kevin Brown. He's committed to the Penn State Nittany Lions, who they beat up on today. There's a lot of doubt around Penn State's program. Who's going to coach it next? Who's going to coach the O-line? What's their track record of development? Will Penn State be a team that needs a gap year because are people going to fly off this roster? What are they going to have to get into the portal? Who's getting in the portal? There's no one leading this football program right now after they fired James Franklin after 11-plus successful seasons in Happy Valley. So Kevin Brown, he's at Ohio State. He was at West Virginia earlier this week. His dad played at West Virginia. There's so much excitement. I don't think people understand how excited the Morgantown, West Virginia faithful are about Rich Rodriguez. To us outside the program, it was just, like they hired Rich Rod back. But that's their guy at West Virginia. And so if you're West Virginia people, you feel that love for Coach Rodriguez. And they're obviously West Virginia people. He had an amazing visit to West Virginia earlier this week. But West Virginia, Penn State, and Ohio State, one's not like the others. One is competing for national championships right now, and the others aren't. Penn State doesn't have a coach, and there's a lot of question marks going into the offseason for the Nittany Lions, and West Virginia is trying to build their program back up. When Kevin Brown committed to Penn State, they were a program that was in the discussion to play in the biggest games, in the discussion to win the Big Ten championship. Phil Trotwine was the offensive line coach who's done a great job developing guys. So we'll see where this recruitment falls moving forward. He was an early commit to Penn State. But those are some of the 2026 targets that were at Ohio State today for Dot the I, the fall. These Midwest campuses are gorgeous, Josh. In the fall, the leaves are turning. Dot the I, the pageantry, the band, the pop and circumstance. It doesn't get much better than Ohio State. And these recruits are feeling it after a 38-14 second half bludgeoning of the Nittany Lions.
Yeah, the horseshoe was buzzing. I got to ask, did we expect a number 1 running back, Kamon Spell, former Penn State commitment, to make it in? Steve, do you have confirmation if Spell indeed made it to Columbus?
I haven't confirmed yet. Okay. He was expected. Second visit. Ohio State's one of the front runners. How about freshman running back Bo Jackson?
Yeah.
Over 100 yards today. Carlos Lachlan, one of the best developers of running backs in the country, and certainly one of the best recruiters. That Rivals prediction machine was on Notre Dame coming into the weekend after he decommitted from Penn State. But Ohio State, no question, one of the biggest challengers. They're in it for Kamon Spell. They're in it for David Gabriel Georges, who's at Tennessee today. And it's hard to imagine them not getting at least one of them. We'll see now Notre Dame and Tennessee are going to try and prove that wrong. Keyshawn Bowman, second time at Ohio State this fall, was also at the win over Texas. I know Jackson Dollar was going to be there. Kennedy Brown, I actually need to reach out to Kennedy Brown's camp. I have not done that yet. I did reach out to Mark Matthews and John Meredith, the number 1 corner in the country, major visitor for Ohio State this weekend. Although, you know what? I do think that Sam Spiegelman reported SMU for John Meredith, a late pivot for John, because Meredith told me early in the week he was going to Ohio State. And then Speaks reported yesterday SMU. This stuff's fluid. That's why you're tuned into the Recruit Reaction Show. Up to the minute updates. A lot of future Buckeyes inside the shoe today, though. They had some of their commits back. I don't think they're going to strike out on these flip targets, and they're certainly going to land some of these 2027s that were in town, sucking it all in.
Yeah. And we're going to be talking way more Ohio State.
Just got some reaction right now. Blake Wong, 4-star receiver from out west. The environment is very hyped and loud, also into the teams a lot, the way the receivers are coached and using the system, and how great of an OC wide receivers coach Hartline and Jordan are. So Ohio State really impressing Blake Wong today.
All right, let's talk one more game. Steve, what do you say? SMU takes down Miami at home. Rhett Lashley celebrates his contract extension with the Stangs by going out in dashing the dreams of his former. Well, yeah, he did come from Miami. He was the OC at Miami before he went to SMU, right? Yeah. So he gets Miami in overtime. Unbelievable win by SMU and an absolutely devastating loss for the Miami Hurricanes, who once again fall apart in the month of November. I mean, they're going to go to a bowl. They're not going to be one of the most disappointing teams of the year, but this hurts for the Miami Hurricanes, Steve.
Well, obviously for Miami, their sights are set on the college football playoff. And if they don't make the college football playoff this year, the season was an absolute bust. SMU's coming off the college football playoff.
Yes.
And if there is a program that is most annoyed by the coverage that Texas Tech has been getting about the resources and about how they're competing for Big 12 titles and all the relationships that they have in state, that has to annoy the folks at SMU the most with what they've built under Rhett Lashley, a conference contending program. And if you win your conference, Josh, what does that mean?
You're going to go to the playoffs.
Which they did last year. And this is a program, they just paid Rhett Lashley top 10 money. So they now have, he is one of the top 10 highest paid coaches in college football. They have resources to invest on the recruiting trail. And this is a program that wants to be in the running for championships, and they have support behind them, and they want to make a run at it. And so for the Mustangs, they have a recruiting class that ranks number 23 nationally in 2026. They beat Ohio State for offensive lineman Drew Evers. Christian Rhodes is a big-time running back. Evan Goodwin, 6'7", 325-pound, 4-star offensive tackle with all the NFL traits coveted. Aljur Miles, 6'2", 205-pound, college-ready wide receiver. Ja'Kai Anderson, a former LSU commit, is in SMU's class. They have some playmakers, receiver, running back. This is one of the top skill player classes in the land. Zachary Turner was a tight end that they beat Miami for on the recruiting trail. So this top 25 class should keep SMU in contention in the ACC for years to come. And then to win this game in front of some of the recruits that they had on campus today, some of the blue chippers in state, some of the flip targets and guys that they're in the thick of it for. SMU capitalizing on a special afternoon in Dallas. They have a lot of support. They have a head coach who's got a guaranteed long-term contract that's not going anywhere. They're a program that's proven that they can be among the best in the ACC. So stock up on SMU also right now. A huge win to start the month of November. We'll see if they can get hot down the stretch.
Yeah, huge win. We'll be talking more SMU because as the Mustangs keep winning, they keep recruiting better. We've seen it not just at the quarterback position, but across the board. SMU takes care of business against Miami. Miami has spent a ton of money upgrading that quarterback position, but they just can't get over the hump and into the playoffs. Once again, Miami with a November letdown. We'll see what happens the rest of the way for Miami. Not an incredibly difficult schedule, but this kind of takes a little bit of with the wind out of the sails of what was a really hot program. We'll see what happens. SMU fans, let's talk to you guys. How are you feeling after beating the Canes, taking care of business at home? You got your coach. He's in place for the long term. It's got to feel good. Talk to us. Comment section below. All right, Steve, that is it for this week's Recruit Reaction. We'll be back. We have the Inside Scoop tomorrow. We have the Will Fun Whip Around on Monday. We're going to have breaking recruiting news. Damian Bryant's going to come off the board later today. Look for video on that on this channel. Make sure you guys are subscribed. We will talk to you all week long. Have a great day.